Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for February the 27th through March 5th, 2023. So before I begin, I would just like to welcome everybody who's returning to this weekly series and to also welcome anyone who is new to our Angelic Wisdom community. So before we get into everything, I just want to make sure that you remember to subscribe, to select the all notification bell, and to, like, dislike, and leave comments. I can't stress enough how important that is in terms of being a resource. You are a resource for the universe just as much as I am. And so your comments, you have no idea, may actually help solidify something that has been said during the reading, or just open another window into someone else's heart and their minds. So if you feel called and you're not afraid to do so, I know it's kind of scary at leaving comments and fearing how people might respond to them, but listen to your heart. It's a really important message that I know I've been receiving personally, and I think it's really important for us to just learn that we have to start just being authentic, and instead of trying to filter everything through someone else's lens, you'll never be able to do that perfectly. The only thing that you can do accurately is to listen to your heart, to trust who you are. And as you do that, you will grow in more confidence in who you are, and the world around you will seem to support you with that same level of confidence. And it's just something that has to take time to grow. But I really feel like that's where we're being sort of pushed, is to really be authentic. So just another reminder, this is the last month for the special offer, first time promotional angel reading, where it was available to everyone. So if you'd like to get an angel reading with me, you can go to my current website, theangelschool.com/services, and you can select the first time promotional offer, whether or not you've had an angel reading with me or not. Now, I know the month is ending, and when the offer is also ending, but if you want to get it for other times in the year, then it is perfectly fine. You're not cheating. I just want you to know that, okay? And hold on 1 minute. And also, if you would like to support my channel, my PayPal me link is also in the description area as well. So just know that any amount that you offer is from your heart is so appreciated. And of course, nothing is expected, but if you feel moved to do so, I thank you for that. And also, if this upcoming week, I'm going to try to get to the general angel reading for the month. This coming month, is, you probably may or may not know, is my birthday month. So I'm a St. Patrick's Day baby. And so it's always an interesting time of the year for me. And for some reason, and I just want to put this out to see if anybody else is having this experience, but I seem to, the month before, so usually around the President's Week, I've noticed like where I have this sort of, I don't know, it's like a rebirth, or my spiritual gifts, and there's this new influx of awareness and information and experiences that are always very magical. And I'm just wondering, because I thought it was just February that week. But now I'm thinking to myself this morning, I wonder if anyone else experiences a month as maybe it's like pre-birthday um, preparations for. It's sort of like our birthdays are sort of our New Year's, right? And I wonder, is it sort of a preparation for our new um, year, so to speak? But just let me know if you have had experiences similar to this, where you just feel in your spiritual growth, or that maybe the month before you get, or sometime in between that, you have this sort of increase in your gifts. And it may not just be like psychic, it could be probably with your talents. It could be in any area, but I was just curious to see if anybody noticed that. All right, so, and also I'll be working on the monthly angel scopes, although I do have a busy schedule, but I will try to get those in. It just seems like I did it, and this month is short, and so, yeah, but there's just so many things going on. I have to do a new roommate search and all that kind of stuff too, so yeah, interesting times. So let's take a deep breath together now as we just tune into the energy for this week, February 27th through March 5th, 2023. And they're showing me an umbrella. And as you know, that's my symbol for that they are watching over us and protecting us. So they're, whatever storms might come pouring down, that they have you protected. It's sort of an awareness of a pre-plan, so that they're always prepared. A protection from the angelic realm and God is about awareness, pre-knowledge, and preparation. So when you become aware of our situation, the angels and God have already been aware of it and have already made preparations. What's so important for us is to not interfere by allowing a situation to diminish your light. So your reaction to it draws in a whole nother sort of set of circumstances and outcomes. And it's so hard to not react. They're showing me teeth around the umbrella, which is my symbol for judgment. Now, in the energy archaeology oracle by Ashley Tennyson, I highly recommend this oracle. It's an anatomy oracle, but it's spiritual energy. But the thing about it is that the teeth represent wisdom. So the teeth hold wisdom. And so it's interesting because they show me when I see teeth, but they're really like jagged and like sometimes there's like too many of them. And that's my symbol for how we just keep breaking things down. So like the one thing that the teeth do is it helps us to break down in terms of energetically, the information that is coming through. And we have a lot of information that is coming through. So in breaking it down, so that you can process it and accurately discern the message that is, precisely meant for you to convey, then in this way, the wisdom flows through in this way. But what we tend to do when we react instead of respond, it turns on us. It's sort of inverted, and we break everything down as if we are criticizing every piece. And, you know, that's why with energy, the way I feel it works through me, is that energy is such a vast, like, oh man, I forget the word. It's like a vast encyclopedia of knowledge. One energy block, I'll just call it. It's not really a block, but the energy that's coming through. And there's a lot of information there. I know because I could pull it all out, and some people might say, oh my God, you're saying it all at once. Stop, right? Um, and it's hard for me because, you know, it's like, oh my God, all those wonderful points, and I grab at them all, and I don't want to miss them, and I know I can't contain them all, so I struggle with that. But I'm learning to just trust the central information that's coming through and letting go of this sense that I'll lose some pieces of it. Because even if I only speak on one stream of that energy, other people still are hearing what they need to hear, which would be those other pieces that I'm not able to say because I can only follow a stream at a time. And I might go from this stream to that stream to that stream, but I still can only do one stream at a time, right? But with energy, the information is there. Just because I'm speaking one thing doesn't mean that your mind doesn't light up with the other components of what is needed. And so that's why you might hear or something else that I did not say, but because I said it. And so we're on another stream right now, technically. But the idea is that your reaction is what you have to somehow get ahead of. You have to get ahead of your reaction. And this is why, just show me an angel number, let me get it out, 950. This is why it's so important, the practice of silence. Even if you cannot silence your mind, but to silence yourself from stepping into more, I'm just going to use silence versus noise, right? Instead of stepping into more noise, which is to say, to react to all the noise that's going on in your head, and none of it's clear yet because you're in the state of processing that information. And you do have time, because if you needed it faster, they would give it to you faster. So when you feel confused, that's an opportunity to practice silence. And in that silence, be aware that you need more time to process before you react or say something or do something. I mean, I can tell you so many things that I overreacted to this past year, that if I had just waited, I wouldn't have gone through certain things that I didn't need to go through. I mean, I can't think of it, but it's silly, everyday stuff. You know, we worry about everything. We just worry about everything. And everything that's happening isn't always bad. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to the extreme and say it's never bad, because it's happening because of something you have summoned to you, and not because you did something wrong. I will say that the universe is always offering a correction. If you feel like you screwed up, then stand still, be silent, because the universe saw where you were headed, even though you had the free will to make those choices, but they can still see where you're heading. and making preparations for whatever it is that you need in a solution or a correction of your errors. And part of that is also having a belief that there's right and wrong. In the, yes, you can observe others and say right and wrong, but we all know that in the moment of making decisions and choices, we're afraid. And it's the fear that creates this division of right and wrong, where if you would just focused on trusting your heart and following your heart and knowing that you are just doing your best by following your heart, then you would not arrive at some conclusion that you might be doing the right thing or the wrong thing, and trust that it's really about following your heart. And if you're following your heart, that is to say, if you're following the mandate of love, of oneness, then your actions are in alignment with all actions. And whether it is perceived as right or wrong, you are playing out your role in the process of collective healing. If you understand what I'm saying, you're playing your role, your part in the process of collective healing. In every classroom, in the earth school that every individual is learning, needs all of its participants. And the universe isn't judging the earth school program under such things as right or wrong, because all of it, when all of our hearts are aligned, all of our actions are playing their part in the lessons of collective healing. Never said that before, and I'll never probably be able to say it again, but that is what it is. So give yourself a break. And the angel number 950 says, God is helping you change your work life for the better. So if there are things going on in your work life, or if there are things going on outside of your work life that are affecting your work life, don't accuse anyone else of doing wrong towards you. And don't accuse yourself of having made a mistake, an oversight that you made. You should have seen this coming. Oh, you shoulda. And they better. It's because you have asked for something. You've summoned something powerful, a shift. You might be learning or working on in your earth school classroom a lesson about equality. They're showing me. And this might irritate you. The lesson of equality is like, ooh, that's a nice one. Your soul was like, oh, I want to sign up for that. That's going to be nice. But when you got here, you didn't know what role, what side of that issue you were going to be on, or how it was going to play out for you. You had some ideas, but now you're like, goodness gracious, because you're angry all the time. Because of the injustice you perceive in your classroom world. And there are players who didn't know when they signed up for the equality lesson that they were going to be, you know, the ones on the, let's say from our perception, the wrong side of the issue. And there were those who didn't know that they were going to be on the right side of the issue, but that it was going to be so hard. So hard. And this is just an example. But you're all supposed to be there, and whatever's going on in your work life or affecting your work life is there to help you to heal, and the collective who are working in this project in the Earth School to also heal. And whatever happens to one happens not just to the few, but to the many. We can't perceive it or see it, but you're not everywhere in your physical awareness. You're not everywhere. You may not be able to see that the same dynamics are playing out everywhere. That is why, you know, some people believe that, well, our behaviors, human behavior, there's a lot of it that's predictable. And we're probably just like a little bit like some program that just keeps repeating that code. The more trauma that code experiences throughout the collective, the more healing is called or summoned for that to heal. And we're seeing it because of social media and the media and the news in our era. We're seeing it now play out collectively. And that can also be heavy, quite a heavy load. Now you might say, well, boy, we were living 1,000 years ago. It would be easier because we wouldn't know how much suffering as we perceive it. But I would ask you to look at it as collective healing. Yes. But then you would also feel even more isolated because you would not be aware that there's so many other people going through what you have gone through or what you can go through. And so in that way, there's a comfort in that I'm not crazy. This is just not happening to me. That somehow life does not just do this to me, but it's a pattern. And we have to heal that pattern. Now that we have all this attention, all these eyes through media, we now realize, hey, like what I do some days is like, if I'm really struggling energetically, and then I'll talk to so-and-so, and I'll talk to so-and-so, and they're so-and-so, and I hear on social media so-and-so, like I'm talking about, so when I say my first so-and-so is people I know, and then on social media, so-and-so, and so, then I realize this is not me. This is something going on in the collective. And that means at that moment, we're all healing collectively. And so whatever the harsh realities that we perceive of the Earth School, there's also the miraculous realities of the Earth School, which is collective healing. Healing in general for ourselves, but collectively. And when you heal yourself, the collective heals. There is no separation, there is no isolation of our self-care or self-healing. Whatever you have gone through, when you learn your lesson, when you pass that unit of your Earth School journey, when you pass that unit, that energy of healing becomes accessible to everyone in worldwide, throughout the universe, in the collective. And when they go into the classroom that you've been in, the unit, when they reach the unit that you have studied and toiled and triumphed, there are energetic there's an energetic matrix, which is like being able to plug into a computer or any software. And when they go through it, they will get those ideas. They will get it. They don't realize it, but it's like they're reading your book and the playbook of everyone else, because they're like stored wisdom. Once we go, as we're going through it, and once we achieve it, the unit, it becomes stored wisdom. And when people are into that classroom, that unit, all of that information from the collective and each individual, how they moved through it with grace, because you are a divine being. No matter how indignant your life is, you still, when you go through it, when your divinity goes through these units, you do it with grace and dignity. And that is what everybody has access to. So now, you, no matter what storms are coming, you are protected. There is preparation already in place. Be silent. Listen. Receive. Journal. Let's talk practical. Write. Dance. Sing. Play an instrument. Garden. Any creative habit. Do it. If that will help you to be silent while that information processes through you. Exercise, etc. Do whatever you need to do to help you to be silent before reacting, before allowing yourself to get all bent out of shape, before you trigger another level of the lesson of that unit. What I'm trying to say is that when you take actions, then you expand the unit. You make it, because now you got to have more, because they're going to keep teaching. They're just going to come back and keep teaching, offering a new lesson about that unit, which will also go into that collective library. And so it extends the lesson. It's all out of love. It's not punishment. It's just love. You are asking for more information because you are resisting what you are receiving. And they're like, that's okay. You don't like this? We'll give you this. Not out of like punishment, but it's like, we can teach you as many ways as you need to be taught. We can help you. We're here. We're good at this. So you have to decide, in order to break a bad habit, I'm calling it for now for sake of argument, then you have to create a new habit. All right, let's take a look at the Archangel that we're working with for this week. And this is Lord Voisey. And you can see here, this is an archangel from another universe. And he has sort of, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, an Egyptian scarab and a ruby. And so he's an angel, and it says, accept and send healing. You are a being of the universe. And this archangel, who's just called Lord Voisey, it's a strange name, and it's just really talking about this universal healing that we were just discussing, and the collective healing. And he's coming through, assisting our planet. So there are archangels that we, in this deck, that we don't normally hear about, that are being introduced. by Dinah Cooper, because she's discovered that archangels from other parts of the universe have now come in assistance to help our planet in its ascension process. And they're bringing in this general, wider sort of, like what I was just talking about, this universal information from other parts of the universe that can help us with where we are right now, because those parts of the universe have already been through it. And so they're bringing in this collective wisdom about how we are collectively healing and how we can really do our part within this construct of karmic lessons that we've been, that the Earth School has been so famous for. There's no other school like it in the entire universe. It might seem, you think about the Earth School as a university, it's like the highest university in the entire universe because it's the most challenging one. It's the densest frequency and energy. And so it really makes, for the soul, it is quite an experience. It is the most exhilarating in every sense of the word, and in terms especially how our senses experience it. And it is the most difficult. And so he's bringing through opportunities for you, as you can see how the energy is just coming from another universe and down through your hands. And so one of the things is that now you have not only the ability to heal, some of you through energy healing, but you also have the ability to heal through the collective shared wisdom that we all have. And if you think that you've reached your limit, I get a sense that he's telling you you've not. You're just, when you think you've reached your limit, you just broke through the ceiling. And what you have is now to sort of call in that higher ceiling of potential. It's like your soul is just about to crack through the shell. And it's sort of a rebirth, but it's sort of a homecoming, a home calling, a summoning of all of the components of yourself that has been scattered, because you scatter when you're afraid. And you have a chance now to call it back and call it to you as power, soul power. And when you believe in yourself in this way, you have the ability to really change your life and to help others transform their lives. All right, so let's take a look at the first card at the beginning of the week. And we have the Magician. And so this card comes back and just talk about healing with the hands. Okay, believe in yourself. Believe in your spiritual abilities. Believe in your ability to summon truth, to declare truth, to make changes in your life. This is the time right now where opportunities are really readily available to you. And if you were to go into that silence and access the wisdom and the power of all that you have learned thus far, you've been through so many units already in this lifetime, and yet you have not brought it all together in some greater awareness and understanding. You're using it to keep limiting you, to keep judging you, to keep diminishing you, instead of, because you look at right and wrong, instead of seeing it as propelling you forward, provoking you to crack through those limits. that you keep focusing upon. The clarity of your heart and your soul, whatever it tells you you desire the most or wish for the most, believe it, trust it, and then start doing whatever little piece of it that you can start with, no matter what you feel you're lacking to accomplish the bigger picture. Don't focus on the bigger picture. Keep it in mind, but start chipping away at the pieces that are at your feet at this moment. And start walking into this reality. Can you just sort of feel that? It's like, be aware of where the pieces of this new reality, be aware of where it is. Be aware of what components of it are now at your feet, while keeping your eye on the grander picture of what it is that you are trying to achieve, and step into it piece by piece. And as you do, the momentum of this vortex will draw you in to all the aspects of what is needed. And this is going to be important when you start learning to focus on what is needed versus what is wanted. Because the wants sometimes are not very clear. A need sort of has this distinction of you have a specific purpose, but a want, it sort of feels like it's just kind of wide open and not focusing. And usually, to me, when something's wide open, there's just a lot of room for distraction, because there is no sort of centering or direction. And so we kind of get stuck, and a whole bunch of things can pop up that distracts us off of that goal, or off of the pieces that are in front of us to work with, that relate to the ultimate purpose that we're pursuing. So with the one, you need to be really focused, right? And be the channel, focus on the inspiration that's coming to you. Anything that lifts your heart, that activates something within you, that activates a passion or a purpose, stay with that. Just get rid of all that other extraneous stuff that's just a bunch of wants. And I don't know if I have time to get into this, but I know I did a writing on this. It's a little bit more in depth about this. So look at that came out sometime last week. And some of you who keep up with that, you already know what I'm talking about. All right, so here we have the 5 of Cups. And this is just sort of like, okay, here's that pouring rain, that umbrella they were talking about, right? So I feel like you need to be prepared for disappointments. I feel like this is our weak spot here. That when something the result isn't immediate, and it looks like things are not going our way, we get discouraged, and we get in this place where we shut down emotionally. And then it just starts to poor me, poor me, poor me. Nothing ever works out for me. Oh, what am I trying for? Oh, let me just go drown my sorrows in ... Now, whatever it is that you do to drown your sorrows or to numb out the pain, you need to divert yourself away from this distraction. And you need to find a center. What gives you peace? What lights you up? And even if you've judged yourself out of it, criticized yourself out of it, so you can't find any pleasure in it, I'd rather you do something that's not very ambitious, but related to that thing. There was a time when I could not practice or sing without such criticism that it just felt like my soul had become impotent for the thing that I was gifted with. And when I learned to stop judging, and that happened by noticing, and that happened because my teacher gave me this one phrase to say, that's interesting. She just kept saying, instead of judging, notice and just say, that's interesting. That's interesting. And in doing that, noticing and saying that's interesting, it diffused my habit of jumping in and reacting and saying I'm so stupid for making that mistake. Right? And what helped me to do was to notice what was going on. And then say, man, that is interesting. That is really interesting. And as I noticed, I started to see the inner workings, and I was able to help myself not figure out how not to make that mistake. And then it became challenging and empowering. And then the singing became more intuitive. And that became really fun, because when I started getting information about how to help myself on my own, well, now I feel like I'm in control of myself, and most importantly, able to enjoy what I do. So that is to say, lower your expectations and your ambition with that thing you desire, so that you can be in connection with it. Because it seems that it's more important for you to be connected to it in some way, shape, or form than to just totally walk away from it and live in incredible misery. And look at this, the Strength card. So we're really having to tap into some inner strength in this week. Compassion with ourselves. It's about really looking inside of yourself. And no matter all of those theories of right or wrong, stupid, whatever you call yourself, or however you judge yourself, in that silence, that you can look with compassion. You can look at this. You can look at your grief with compassion, with understanding that there's some enormous collective healing that you're participating in, that there's something bigger than just you. It's not just you that is happening to. There's a purpose for you being where you are right now. And there's a purpose and a plan for your healing. And not just for your healing, but for the healing of others. And I know what I'm talking about because I've been through this and I've seen it happen. That with my own physical healing, and that because I went through it, and this is what I was told, that there would be collective healing. And I've seen that on that particular issue. Whether you are cured of your illness or not, because your enlightened and illumined soul has stepped onto the bandwidth of that matrix, you light it up. And as you go through the process, all of the healing knowledge and wisdom of your blueprint, divine blueprint of health, is activated and sent out into the collective wisdom, so that somewhere in the world, a doctor will receive the idea, or people will receive the wisdom and knowledge, that will allow this to be someday there will be a cure. This is just one example. There are many life experiences where of different types of healing that are not physical, but emotional, etc. And so just be aware that you are more powerful than you realize. And you do have the ability to heal yourself. It's almost like it's in the disease that the disease is the cure, as if it set it up. The disease sets itself up for a cure. It's the preparation that we've been talking about. Once something happens, there's already prepared the solution or the cure. And if we focus, if we get more in that silence, if we, in our waking hours, that will allow that cure, and I'm just talking in very general terms, not just about disease, but to unfold within you, the healing process. We need the silence in order for it to process the healing that is coming through, because that is what the universe is always offering: a healing, a correction, a solution, enlightenment, wisdom. There's no time for you and I to be focused on mistakes or wrong. Compassion is what we're supposed to be doing in that moment. And that's how we will receive what it is that we need. And the angels, this is the Seven of Pentacles, just because it's hard to see the words. And this is just reminding us that things take time. This is going to be a long-term investment, but an investment that is worth every penny. You taking the time now to change habits that keep perpetuating circumstances that you do not need in your life. If it's setting boundaries with people, then you need to practice a new habit. But know it might feel difficult. You might not feel like you're being supported or it's going wrong. The more you do it, the more, no, because it's about the boundary would be you. Do you feel right? Are you accepting what your heart is telling you you need to do? Because when you do, then everybody else outside of you will have no choice but to be all right with it. If you're going through something, rejection or self-doubt, you've got to change that pattern within you. But it's an investment that's worth it. And put the investment in yourself. I mean, even look at her doing gardening here, but it's here to show this idea of this seed that's just sprouting leaves, and there's more time, there's more work, or you're about to plant something in the soil, and see that same energy that's there in both cards. So it's really important for you to focus on divine guided actions. Even if you got stuff going on, still do those things that your heart's telling you. Don't let outer circumstances make up an excuse for you not to take care of the things that your heart is telling you to do, because that is the will of the universe, God, moving you through, telling you you're strong enough. It's an illusion. You say to yourself, oh, I'm too sick, or I'm too depressed, or I'm too to do this. But you've summoned the inspiration. It would not have come to you if you needed to do nothing but just lay there. It's coming to you because that action will move you forward. It will enable your healing, and it will enable it on a collective level. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and have a beautiful, beautiful week, and God bless.